Hello, it's Becky and welcome to Be Mom. We are going to work on our crafting today. I have a wreath that I'm going to make. And there are so many options. I have chosen a wreath that I got from Dollar Tree. And the other things that I've done, I want to show you. I've gone ahead and set up. I grab crafting supplies from all over the place. And when I see that they're on sale and things like this, I try to grab them when they're on sale. And so I did that. And then I have, this area over here, which you can't really see very well, but this is from my glue gun. And my dear, dear mom-in-law, she knew that I liked to do crafting, and so she saw this and got it for me. And I have two different sizes of scissors, and so we'll be using some of that for different things. And just in case you're aware, if you don't know, if you use fabric scissors to cut fabric, you need to mark them because they will dull if you use paper or anything else, and then they won't cut the fabric. So I thought that it might be nice, because what I like to do is we'll get some greenery on our wreath, and I'm gonna try and wrap some white around. So it's kind of like this. You think about it like this. We're making a palette like a painting, and we want to start with putting the blank canvas on. So we have to create that, because you could use this, but I don't have enough leaves available to me to completely fluffily cover it. So I'm going to put this as a base, and then that will help to make it look nice. And I'm going to experiment a little bit, because you can do this without gluing it down. And you just kind of wrap things around and see how it looks. And can you see what I'm doing here? And look, see, we have this piece of cloth that's covered, this pretty piece of lace has covered about half of it. And then this other piece of lace then should cover the other half. And the nice thing about wrapping things is that you don't have to use quite as much glue. So, and you have options. You can either wrap it and then glue it, which sometimes I do like to do, or you can wrap it to experiment and then glue. And I'm noticing that it might not fit. If you have some gaps, you can just make sure that you fill those in with something else, because the idea is it won't show on the front. I have my water bottle over here because I get, look at this. See her? Extra help that I don't really need. That's the other thing I wanted to show you. No, baby girl, no. What I've done is I put a bag that I've attached to the chair, and that's my trash bag. I think what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue on the inside, because then the glue won't show quite as much. Glue on the inside to start attaching this lace. And like I said, the nice thing is that you can wrap around and then you don't need as much glue. She's so silly. She's come back to be bothersome. All right. So I am going to go ahead and attach this all the way. And now see, it doesn't matter that this is sticking up because we're going to do something with that, and we'll cover it up so when it's done it won't look like that. She learned. But since we know we're going to do some other things, then I'm going to go ahead and leave a little gap here because then I know it'll fit around the other side. And again, we'll glue right on the inside. And we'll add that little piece of end of the lace here. There we are. Wrap it around. See, and it makes it all the way around. So this will be all covered in lace. And of course, you know, if you start gluing something and then it doesn't seem to work, you can always go back and add more glue. I use this because I don't like my fingers to get burnt. All right, so now that we have this on there, okay, I'm gonna add. Now the easiest way to figure out how you wanna do things is to just kind of look around at what you've got and see if you've got colors that match. So I have white and some green. Then of course I grabbed white flowers that will be more white. And then I have a little bit of gold. And I have beads and I have ribbon, and it's all the white, green, and gold basic. The only thing I have with anything else are my red flowers on this. And let me just show you. When you get these, you can either like it's easiest with snippers, with wire cutters, but you don't have to because they don't attach these, so this comes off. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull all these off like this. And see, now I know I'm not gonna use this, so I can recycle it, or I can figure out if another craft might be able to use it and save it. And then you've got that. And the nice thing with crafting is you don't have to waste anything. You can keep a trash bag, like I showed you we made. You can keep a container, and if you have larger pieces that you don't need anymore that you've cut, you can set them in the container, and then they'll work. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of the lace is all the way around. I'm going to go around and just glue these little areas like this until it's all done, and I will come back and show you my finished product. I wanted to jump in while I was still gluing this and show you what I have. What I like to do is I like to have a workspace that's kind of empty, and the only reason it doesn't look empty is because I've got all of this paper down, but there's no crafting things here. Then off to the side, I have some crafting supplies that I am using, but this way I have a workspace. And so that's what I do for that. Now, I'm going to show you before we move on to the next piece. I have this side, and then I have this side. And you see how there's a gap right there? I'm gonna make this side the front. That way it won't matter that there's a gap in the back because we're gonna hang it up here. Wreaths are some of my favorite things to make because it's really easy to combine everything. All right, so we pulled these off, but we're gonna save these for a little bit later. We're gonna focus on leaves right now. And I have two different colors so that I can get the leaves off. There we go. Well, I think sometimes if you're new to this especially, it's easy to think, oh, you know, I've got this thing, I have to use it like this, but don't. Don't be afraid to take it apart. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of ladies who get on and do Dollar Tree crafting things, and I will link some of those below so that you can find them, because these ladies are wonderful at this. And they just buy all their stuff from Dollar Tree. But one of the things they show you is how to take all apart the Dollar Tree stuff. So it's a crafting thing that they got, but they didn't like what was already on it, so they turned it into something else. They sanded down one side, they flipped it over, they covered it with fabric or paint, and turned it into what they wanted. And so you can do that. So don't be afraid to do that. That is perfectly wonderful. Crafting is all about what you like and what you love and what looks pretty to you. So now we have lots of greenery. And here's what I love about this: different sizes and shapes. And so, whoops. So we're gonna just start gluing this on. And I find it easiest to start with the big things. And now here's the beauty of something like this. It's got a big gap space here. Can you see how it just has a big empty space? So we can just slide this right in here. So I'm gonna get my glue gun and we will slide that in there like that, so that that stays right there. And then the stem is hidden, so that while it's on here, it'll look pretty. And then we will add the rest of it, and you can glue the stem. I like to glue the leaves. I find they stay better. And this is just the first one. And let me show you. That's just the first one. So we're just starting. And remember what I said? I said we had this gap back here, so this will be the front. So what I'm gonna do is, unlike other things, because this is possible too, you can buy enough greenery to go all the way around, but we used the lace for the canvas instead of the leaves. So we're gonna just make sure we cover the whole front and as much of the top. And then if the back looks this way, and I'll show you at the end what the back looks like, then it's okay. So I'm gonna take a minute and just get a couple of these on. Now when I attach this one, I'm gonna show you a little trick. I don't want the stem to show, and I have this available leaf, so I'm gonna glue this right under there like that, and then glue the leaf down and add that so that I can get more around, but then hide the stem. And we'll add a couple other things too, and that'll help. But I wanted to show you how you can do it. With this one, I want to show you how long things take to dry. So we're going to put this on, and we're going to use the top and tap it down and hold it next to it. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 9 1000, 10 1000. When I touch it, it still feels warm. As long as it's warm, it's not completely stuck yet. So once it cools, which takes, we've been chit-chatting, so it takes about 15 seconds or so, then it will stick pretty well. So we've got these leaves on, and this is our top, because that's where the big bare spot is. And we're gonna add extra leaves up here to cover that up, and we have two different kinds. We have this kind that are like a holly tree, that type. And then we have this other kind, I don't know what kind it is, but they're more oval, and they are just straight on the edges. And that way we can use extra ones and cover it up at the top to add. I'll go ahead and glue one to show you how it's gonna add a little extra color. Now it adds a little extra color. The downside is, let me show you, you can see the middle, that's the plastic piece, but we'll put things in there to make it look nice, so you won't notice it on the finished product. So I'm gonna take a few more of these and put them around. A lot of people like to plan it out, and it tends to maybe come out a little bit better if you do that, but that's a very personal choice, because there's no wrong way to do it. So that's what makes it nice. What I'm doing when I'm gluing these is I'm seeing how it naturally falls And then like if there's a piece that sticks up, I'm leaving that, but then gluing the pieces that fall onto it, and it makes it lay flat on there, and it gives it a place to glue. And so that's how I'm deciding where to put glue and where not to put glue. So that might be helpful for you too. So I'm almost finished adding it. See, now look, here's where the bare spot was, but when you look on the front, I covered it all up with greenery, and now I'm just gonna look and see where I think maybe it needs a little extra greenery. And see, I see this area over here looks kind of bare compared to this side where there's more green. And so I'm gonna put that. The other thing I did was, in some cases, I glued leaves to other leaves in order to hold them in place instead of gluing to the actual wreath. Now, I added a little extra greenery, and then on this side, it looks all full of green. So I'm gonna add some of my colored flowers with a little bit of red on there. And I think I'm gonna try to put those near where some of the berries might be, where some of the, see, these are holly leaves, where the holly leaf might be, because the red would go with the holly leaf nice. And the other thing with the leaves, when I put it on, if you'll notice, I didn't put all the same kind in one place. I tried to, again, here's the top, I tried to kind of even out where the flowers went. And I saved one to go with this bunch of white ones. And I'm gonna put that up at the top with like a pretty bow. But I'm gonna add some of this now. And I'm gonna try to wrap it around. I'm gonna start at the top and wrap it around so that it goes in between a lot of these flowers. I'm gonna start back here where it's bare. I'm gonna glue. And then I'm gonna wrap it around on this, and that way how long to make it, then I'll glue it once I've already got the right size piece. So that's how I do that. So I'll finish that up. I'm telling you, I'm gonna start gluing right here, and then we'll just wrap it around. You don't have to glue every single time. But I'll show you how we're gonna glue it after I get it on there. So I have it loosely wrapped around, and the end is right here. I started with just like one drop of glue right there to hold it, and then remember, we counted about 15 seconds to let it dry. But what I'm gonna do is, instead of pulling it really tight and gluing it, I'm gonna keep it a little bit loose so I can play with the other pieces. But I want to show you, see, this piece of ribbon has a clear side that's the front and the back, and that makes it easier. So I'm running it, instead of a dot, I'm running a line across, and I'm going to go across to here to help hold it, and then I'll put the glue right where I put the line. We'll wait our 15 seconds. See, I put it on the back, not on the top. That way you can hide it. Then for this, I'm gonna take my big scissors, and I'm watching the clock. We got about 5 more seconds. And we will go right where it's glued and snip right above that. And again, even if you don't like the way it looks, you can cover it up with something. So that's nice. All right, so this is what we have so far, and I have this extra piece. This is big enough to use for something later, so I'm gonna tuck it aside so I can keep it. Now we have all this loose ribbon. It doesn't look so good, so I'm gonna tuck it in a place and use a spot of glue and keep it still. in the place where it's tucked. Now I want this is covering up the flower. I don't want that. So I'm going to scoot it over. Since we have room, we made room, and I'll glue it over here. All right, now it ended up being too loose here, so I'm folding it, because this is just the back. This is just the back. I'm going to glue that fold on there so it stays. Okay. See, we glued the back, but when we look at the front, see, it's all wrapped around. So I'm going to finish straightening this out and making it look nice, and then we'll come back. So here we have our lace. See how it's coming together? We started with just this round thing, and now we've got lace and we've got things on it, and it takes a little while. So if you like doing this, this is a fun way to spend some time and make your house look beautiful. And you just do little bits at a time, one thing at a time. And now here, let me show you my messy back. So we got messy pieces on the back, but it doesn't matter. And again, you just pick, oh, this looks nice here. A lot of times if you space it out, I heard somebody say odd numbers tend to look a little better than even numbers. So if you want to count, if you're a more mathematical person, you can count. And so there are just some ideas. So I'm going to put a few more things on, make a bow, and I'll show you how we do that in a minute. And then we'll add some more to this. So here's what I did. I took the pieces and I put them together so that the flower part looks like the bouquet that I want. Then I took the ribbon, a piece of this ribbon, and I'm folding it in half like this. And this is going to get tied on to this. I'll put it together, and then I put it on. And I try to make sure one side's a little bit longer, because that's going to get tucked in. And then just like a shoelace, you wrap around, tuck the top piece into the bottom. Make sure everything's where you want it as far as stems go, and you pull. And now you have a pretty little bouquet, and you can unfold these, and then it looks nice. Here's how we make a bow. You can take this, and some people like to wrap it around. However many times you like to wrap it around, and then they like to pinch it in the middle and spread them all out. My favorite way to make a bow is to take one side and leave a tail, and then have enough so that I can take another side and leave a tail, and see how it's still attached. I will clip it off when I see how the sizes work. Now the downside with this is that you end up with a pretty big bow, but if you like a big bow, that's okay. Then I'll tuck that underneath, and then there we go. Now I know that what I want is, see how you got the bottom? You can see how long it is. And just clip that same size. Now we've got that. And what I can do is I'll fluff and I'll fluff. And now we have a pretty bow. So I kind of like my bottom bow a little bit off center so that it looks like it's hanging. But then what I did was I glued the bottom part of the bow to the wreath and the bottom part of the bow to the wreath. So you might want yours to go all the way at the bottom. You could do that. And then this is where it's kind of blank at the top. So I put that up there so they're a little bit catty corner to each other. and then it just kind of has a natural look. And you can always play with the strings and stuff like that. We'll add some of our berries, and then I'll show you how we attach something so you can hang it, and then our wreath will be done. So I added a few of these, not very many because I didn't want to do too many. And then I found a spot at the top where I could string some ribbon. So what I'm going to do, some people like to just glue and add string to the back, but I worry a little bit about how secure that is. So we're gonna tie in a knot. I am gonna do, so it's tied, but I'm gonna go ahead and glue this and glue the knot in the back for us. And it's just every little bit, because what you don't want is your pretty wreath to fall off the wall. And I will hang it up for you and show you how it hangs. So I realized that I did that whole last section with the berries and actually mostly showing you the tie thing. I did that without my microphone plugged in, so I'm sorry about that. I hope it sounded okay. I'll check it in the video when I edit this, but I wanted to show you our wreath. There is our wreath on the door, all pretty. Thanks for joining me, and subscribe and comment and like if you like this video, if you like this kind of video. I know we did a different kind of crafting video than other people did because I try to gear towards beginners, because a lot of people might not even know how to start. So thank you very much.